welcome to round two.
And welcome to round two. So, like I said, Jason Jaco, owner proprietor of the
Something really loud back
Eternal Central website. Also, avid vintage, old school, middle school player, legacy player. I think he plays pretty much everything Eternal.
there. He's one of the pioneers of old school, isn't he?
Probably. He's definitely up there. I don't know. I don't know how that one started. Matt Hazard, the owner of the basement that we're in, he's got a hard hat and there's a hammer, a sawzall.
This is a very masculine room that we are in.
Oh man, it's way more masculine than I am. Anyway, he's turning some number of years old today, and we're here in celebration of his birthday. We'll find out what he's playing. He is. Both of these players are 1-0, so we should be seeing some quality magic. I made a face there, but you can't see it because you're looking at the game score.
I did really appreciate the little teaser that Andy put together that said, "You've seen vintage, now see
No, whatever this
is."
I'm going to go ahead and tweet that we are going into round two. We are doing a great job. Let's see. Players are still shuffling up.
You know, I think that when you're in games, you don't feel like the shuffling up part takes very long.
But when you have to talk over it,
When you have to talk over, it's just like, geez, can these people shuffle?
Shuffle faster. Yes, Jaco, aka Mamba Mentality, aka 1/3 of the Killer Bees. He's wearing his Killer Bees sweater right now. J.M. Jaco.
The birthday boy!
I should have made an easier to type hashtag for this. Anyway, players are shuffling up and we're going to start very soon.
Still.
Yeah, so... TV. Tell your friends. Twitch.tv/SeriousVintage. Like and subscribe. Boop.
Or just subscribe.
So I know Jaco is a big proponent of Jaeger bombs, and Matt is a big proponent of drinking for his birthday. So this actually, I think we're still on the leading edge of this being a very interesting match, but it should be an interesting
Does
match.
Jaco like Jaeger bombs?
No one likes Jaeger bombs.
I don't understand this.
I've got delivered a beer.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, this worked great.
Is that a benefit of being the commentary?
Well,
That
I
you just
can't.
get,
I can't leave.
drinks delivered?
But you should ask. Tweet someone.
Just broad tweet. Can I get a drink here?
Yeah, someone will bring you a drink. So Jason Jaco apparently on the play, leading with Mana Crypt. I believe all of Jaco's cards are going to be altered and full border, as many as can be anyway. So that's a Sensei's Divining Top.
He's pretty serious about pimping out his decks.
He is very good at that. They are quite tastefully done as well.
Minty.
Yeah, no, it's good. So Matt Hazard on orange sleeves. You don't know what he's doing yet. Jaco is looking at cards and has played in a land. That is a Scalding Tarn, I think. I mean, I assume. It's probably not a Steam Vents. So we'll see here. I think Hazard has blue cards in his hand. I kind of was expecting red and green cards, but it's probably better that he's playing blue. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh no. That is a fetch land. Yeah. The black and green one.
I mean, that can fetch good cards.
You can get Underground Sea,
Yeah.
Badlands, Scrubland.
What's the last one?
Of what? Well, I mean, it can get
Cards with black in it.
it can get many cards. It can also get the green ones.
Yeah, but who wants the green
Tropical
ones?
Island, Savannah, Taiga.
Do you think that Matt still plays with Tigers, or is the...
Has he forsaken them ever since they betrayed him?
Yeah.
I don't know. So Matt Hazard came in second at the Legacy Championship in. This was a while ago. 2008
Yeah.
is my guess. On Belcher, playing against Goblins in the finals, which should be a pretty hands-down win for Belcher, honestly. And his first reveal off of the after the Belcher activation was Taiga, and then Goblins ran him over.
So he...
We had a party for him in his honor. It was kind of a wake, honestly.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah. So I think that that's a Tolarian Academy. Jaco has very much mana. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes that his full bordered cards are what they are, because he also has alters. So I think the Tolarian Academy looks like it might be in some sort of storm environment. He's tapping very much mana, and that's a paradoxical outcome.
That seems handy.
It seems pretty strong.
That card's okay. I've heard.
Yeah. And he's going to get the extra draw off the Sensei's Divining Top there. He's returning, drawing with the top. That stays in play, and then he returns it with the paradoxical outcome. So he's going to draw some cards. Unless Matt Hazard has anything to say about it. Aha! Matt gets a Taiga.
It is a Taiga.
He does play Taiga.
He's playing Taiga.
I would.
He wanted that Taiga.
He wanted it real bad. I think he probably has some sort of Reb.
That would be pretty handy here.
Not me is saying Hazard has maybe 3 Pyroblasts in hand, which woof.
If so, handy.
Jaco has Mental Misstep, which is restricted.
Oh.
Mental Misstep shows up a lot more frequently now that it's restricted. That's just how it
works.
works.
How does that work now?
There used to be 4 of them in a deck, and you drew them only 1/3 as often. Now that it's restricted, you see it pretty much all the time.
It's been a bad day for Pyroblasts so far.
Pyroblast has not looked good. I mean, I don't think it's Pyroblast's fault necessarily.
Have we seen a rise in the number of Pyroblasts with shops becoming less apparent? And
I think Pyroblast has been good. I think Pyroblast has come back because Mental Missteps are gone.
Oh, okay.
I think Pyroblast is good against things like Paradoxical Outcome unless they have Mental Misstep, and it was just the easier way to do that.
Yeah.
So I believe that's a Mox Opal. And
yeah, it looks like
playing the things again, and
the things.
He got another Paradoxical Outcome, so this is looking very, very bad. Happy birthday, Matt Hazard. So here's the interesting part about Paradoxical Outcome. Overall, the deck is good, but it's not like outstanding. The problem with it, I think, is that it just takes a long time to win because you do a lot of these. Like Matt here is kind of just going to sit there.
And Jaco is going to do a lot of things.
And Jaco is going to play very many cards, and he has to ask about each one. I mean, he doesn't have to, but like, he's not just throwing them into play. I mean, I'm not really sure. I would assume that Jaco has some sort of win condition based on Storm
in his deck.
But it could be almost anything. It's nice when it's Tendrils because the game ends.
Right.
It's kind of worse when it's like, I'm going to do all this stuff and then play Monastery Mentor. Pass the turn. So Jaco has played many cards.
He's still playing cards.
That's another Sensei's Divining Top.
Another Mox Opal.
The Mox Opal again. And he passed the turn. That's the other nice thing about Paradoxical Outcome is it kind of just burns itself out every once in a while. So Matt has Taiga, potentially has more Pyroblasts in hand, but we don't really know that.
Which, I mean, Jaco has burned his mental misstep, so
He definitely has a Magus of the Moon that he's thinking about. He's got a Simian Spirit Guide I saw. So I think he's going to try and shut Jaco off of the Tolarian Academy. Jaco
he has a lot of artifact.
has Mox Opal, and I'm not sure he's going to care.
Yeah, like Academy is ridiculous, but Jaco still has access to a lot of.
Yeah.
Basically, he can do anything he wants to do. It's just a question of how much at the same time.
So he's still got to worry about Mana Crypt. Looks like that was probably a safe roll. Who knows? Again, we don't really have life totals. It's a number. Sometimes it's relevant.
You just keep on going until you're dead, man.
Sometimes it's relevant in Vintage.
I would say Crypt is very relevant in Vintage.
Oh, it is. Oh, well, especially against a deck like Hazard, who's probably going to be playing creatures and attacking and stuff like that. So Jaco has another paradoxical outcome. He's going to draw 7 cards here.
And Hazard's tapped out, so even if he's holding...
He could have a Simian
Spirit Guide
and
fair.
Pyroblast. And that seems very like Hazard. But obviously he let this paradoxical outcome resolve, so he probably does not.
He's just... He's just luring him in.
Like I said, that's the thing with paradoxical outcome. It does stuff, but a lot of times you as an opponent are just watching it happen.
I feel like there's a time-honored tradition of decks like that in Vintage.
Yeah, I think so. I think sort of the draw-based nature of paradoxical outcome is a little bit less directive than something like Grimlong or Pitchlong or something where you tutor for your win, like just go straight for it rather than I'm going to draw half of my deck and see what happens. So here we go. Jaco has played Monastery Mentor. He's going to play some more spells and get some tokens, and Matt is going to see what happens. I don't think we've seen Time Walk. So I don't know that Jaco necessarily wins this turn, but he's going to play enough stuff to put tokens on board, and then
it's definitely going to put Hazard on
next turn. I'm sure. Even Hazard would have to have something sulfur elementally.
Something like Sulfur Elemental?
Potentially.
On a scale of 1 to Sulfur Elemental, how Sulfur Elementally is Sulfur Elemental?
I mean, Sulfur Elemental is like an 11 on that scale. Hazard needs something that's at least like a 7. I mean, he's going to have to get rid of some tokens, and I would assume that Jaco is going to have a way to prevent whatever Hazard is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, he has access to a lot of things from his deck at this point.
Right.
And his hand still seems like he has 6 cards?
He's drawn a lot of cards.
Yeah.
The last paradoxical drew 7, I believe, and Not Me is saying he only drew 10 cards the previous turn. So
only 10 cards.
Only 10. We're going to attack with the Sensei's Divining Top.
What?
Sorry, no. We're going to attack with the Tolarian Academy. Man, I cannot follow Vintage at all. He's not attacking. What's he doing?
He's just tapping things randomly. What game is this?
No, Sulfur Elemental, strict possibility for in Hazard's deck. I think the surprise would be that Monastery Mentor is restricted, so there's really not a reason to run for Sulfur Elementals. Like that would be kind of overboarding for the one one threat of Monastery Mentor. I mean, there are other good white cards too. But I don't know that Hazard's deck would necessarily be as worried. No, I'm saying creatures, like things that Sulfur
I'm just trying to think of other good white cards, and I'm coming up.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, like, Leonin, Relic, Warder, Pikemen.
Of course. Hashtag Pikemen.
Hashtag Pikemen. Thalia. Yes, that's a good one. There's 2 Thalias.
All right.
There are 2 of them.
Right.
That you could play 8 Thalias. I mean, I don't think Jaco is, but potentially he's got that option. So, Jaco passing with Monastery Mentor and 6 tokens in play, also a bunch of artifacts, and a Tolarian Academy that's actually a model.
Yeah, I don't think that Hazard survives his next turn if it comes to that.
be surprised.
I don't think I would be surprised in that.
Yes, you know it's a close game when one person is discarding the hand size. Still had all D's. Hazard playing some land and shrugging.
And
That
giving
seems
giving
bad.
the open palms.
Wait,
The
no.
don't got none of D's look.
So this is 2 mana here. I'm kind of guessing this is going to be oof. Is it a stomping ground? It probably is a stomping ground. It's either a stomping ground or a fetch land, but stomping ground seems very hazardy, so not hazardous, just hazardy. Goyf. That's a blocker.
Yes.
That blocks some stuff.
Yes, it is.
Jaco, I thought he was giving a thumbs up there, but he's counting stuff. We're figuring out how big the
Giving him the
is.
finger.
It's a 3/4. It's a 3/4. So, big, not huge.
That's what they used to call me back in high school.
Yeah, probably. Man, I'm glad you're here.
So it's just, I mean, this is just game, right?
I assume so. I think Jaco probably has enough spells to play that he can do a thing. He can flip tops a couple times and
Yeah.
just crush him. So I think that's a 2. I think we're looking at even numbers being safe. So I don't think he's taking any damage from crypt. And
As it should be. Odd numbers are pointy.
That's right. Some of them are triangular,
Yeah.
like 10. It's triangular. For this kind of commentary and more, you can listen to Serious Vintage on Eternal Central.
Man, this is only round 2. This is going to be a problem. Oh.
Did you know we have a podcast? Like and subscribe. So we're still looking at game 1 of round 2. This is Jason Jaco on Paradoxical Outcome. He's definitely got the upper hand here against birthday boy Matt Hazard.
So is he just playing, like, RG Beats?
I assume it's some sort of Christmas Beats.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think he's got Klothys to make it a little bit new. I feel like I'm being toyed with here, and Jaco should just attack and do
Yeah, it's just like, this is taking longer than I would expect.
There's lots of explaining and talking, and we are 20 minutes into this game.
What is that?
I don't recognize that altar. Is it Yawgmoth's Will?
Okay, it's over now.
Okay, we've done it.
We can assume that Jaco won that game.
Right.
Unless he was just like, I can't go on. Scoop.
And concede happy birthday.
I can't make the decisions on how to win. Are you sure you want to do that and reset the clock?
No, I'm not going to.
Oh, okay.
See what happens. I'm going to adjust the game score.
Oh.
Because we're professionals.
So far, it's definitely seeming like being in the left chair.
Left
is
chair
the superior
very
one.
strong today.
Yes.
Left chair very strong. I didn't really know what to expect. Other
Positive
years,
left chair energies.
Other years it's been the right chair. This year definitely left chair so far. So good. Left chair 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Actually, left chair 4-0.
That's true. He did left chair 4-0. Matt? So let's talk about the implications of this matchup here. Paradoxical Outcome combo deck.
I mean, I'm sure that Matt has more pyro effects to bring in.
Yes. So, I think Jaco is in the driver's seat, especially after having won game 1. Hazard is looking at a bunch of pyro effects and probably, I'm sure he's got Collector Oof.
Seems really strong.
He should just have a bunch of creatures. I think he's going to try and... His goal is going to be to stop Jaco from playing the game. And, theoretically, Jaco is trying to do that too.
And Matt can do that by throwing him out of his house.
That's actually a very good point. We never really talk about the metagame in this fashion. So we are streaming live from Matt Hazard's basement, and, Matt could just be like, Jaco, get out of my house. I win.
And I think Matt could back that up.
Um, yes, ex-Marine Matt Hazard could do that. Yes, we have gotten more serious. Our stream setup is closer to 100% serious than it ever has been. Um, we've actually got live commentary. There's things on screen. We're
How rare.
we're like 300% serious at this point.
So we're moving down in levels of serious.
Well, it's man, that seriousness scale is so hard to actually
Next
represent.
time, I swear we're getting the analysis desk.
It's very difficult to gauge exactly the seriousness because 1,000% serious is in fact not serious at all. 100% serious,
Very serious.
Anything less than 100% serious is
Less
less than
serious?
1,000%. So I mean, it's just you know,
It's complex.
yeah, it's really more of an axis system. So, again, we're looking at round 2, Jason Jaco versus Matt Hazard. Jaco on paradoxical outcome. Last game he won with Mentor. Matt Hazard on some sort of red-green concoction. I still suspect with Klothys, though we haven't seen it.
That's just your hopes speaking.
Oh, man, I really want to see Klothys.
I'm looking at this card.
So, I had Klothys. God of Destiny.
God of Destiny.
Not Karthus, Tyrant of Jund. Man, Magic has got so many characters.
It really wants it to be Karthus.
Yeah.
Klothys.
That's the one.
Klothys with a Y.
I said that. So I had Klothys, God of Destiny, in my sealed pool of the Theros Beyond Death pre-release, and it was an interesting add to the deck. Obviously, I'm playing it. Obviously. But it turned my normally red-green aggro deck into a control deck because I suddenly just had no reason to attack.
Because you know you can always just wait for him to come up.
I will just wait.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, obviously I'm trying to attack beforehand, but
Right.
if I get Klothys in play, I just stop attacking because I will still deal damage and just gain life. It's still a 4-point life swing every turn. It's real weird. I really hope we see it here today. Maybe I should check and see, can we see it in Matt Hazard's deck? Looks like no.
Use your X-ray vision.
Ugh, man. Someday, actually, at past events, we've had deck lists for these, and I feel like that would be helpful.
It would be.
Eh.
I think that, in general, as a player, people really like to not have to deal with deck lists.
Oh, yeah. We will end up having deck lists for top 8.
Yes.
So you can look for those on themanadrain.com. We might have a write-up for Eternal Central. Who knows?
I know that Joe was looking to collect information.
Oh, yeah.
as a
Joe
possible
Dyer,
article.
friend of the team, would have been at this event, except his father is in ill health. He's going to be collecting deck lists, and warm wishes to his family. I hope they're doing okay. Players shuffling up for game 2. If we switch back to the desk view, we reset the game clock, so that's why you're kind of watching people do clerical work.
It's cool. I mean, they'd just be looking at our ugly mugs. I'm pretty sure that by round 5, we're just going to be, desk view all the time, just pointing to tools around here, being like, this is amazing.
There's so much cool stuff down here. So Hazard, ex-Marine Hazard, now works in the theater, or worked in the theater department of the Ohio State University. Now works as a representative selling theater lighting equipment. So we're just surrounded by gaffer's tape.
There's also a Honda emblem.
Yep. Which is interesting because I've only known Hazard to have Fords.
It's probably a story behind that.
You never know.
So I think we're almost getting into this now.
We're finishing up shuffling. We're cutting decks. There's cards being drawn. Oh my goodness.
Is there yet any scenario in Vintage where you would expect to draw rather than play?
No.
It's always play.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's some interesting things, like in, for example, Legacy Dredge, you choose to draw so that you have the extra card and can discard a Dredger.
Yep.
I, in Vintage, have chosen to draw playing Belcher because I found that the 8th card helped me a lot against blue decks.
And you're not going to die to a blue deck on turn 1?
And you generally don't. I couldn't do it against Shops decks because they would shut me off.
Oh, is that what Shops does?
It's a thing. It happens. Actually, it would probably be easier against Shops decks.
It'd be easier now, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a hard thing to do. Story about that. I was playing against Paul Mastriano one time at a local tournament in Boston. Shout out to my friends in Boston. And shout out to my friends in Boston. We have one of yours here now. He's Phil Kwan. He's here. Anyway, we were out there.
So Andy?
Oh, sorry, not Boston. Baltimore. Boston. It's all right. Anyway, shout out to my friends in Baltimore. We used to have tournaments there. Paul Mastriano would come up from DC with us, and he was playing Oath, I believe, one time, and I was playing against him on Belcher and allowed him to be on the play, and I think it blew his mind. And I ended up winning that match, in part because in Game 3, his creatures were on the bottom of his deck, and he just straight up lost.
I don't know that.
This is how we win.
Jaco is
Praying.
praying.
Jaco is praying. Matt Hazard's still shuffling. I don't know if you guys can hear. We are right next to a restroom.
I don't think that they can. I'm pretty sure that they can probably hear that noise a lot better.
There's shouting coming from the restroom. It sounds very exciting in there. So I assume Matt mulliganed there, and he's gonna look at a new hand and probably go to 6 cards. Simeon Spirit Guide, I'll get Pyroblast.
I feel like Simeon Spirit Guide and Pyroblast is pretty solid.
I hope he just boarded into Belcher.
That would be spicy, and probably possible.
That's a Null Rod, so probably not Belcher.
Probably not.
But Matt Hazard, a very creative deck builder, and who knows?
Null Rod Belcher. It's the new hotness.
Null Rod Belcher. Let's go. So he is putting a card on the bottom of his deck.
Gonna play a Null Rod and
he's going to be
scoop.
on the play here. I think with the Simeon Spirit Guide, he could potentially be on turn 1 Null Rod. Black Lotus. I have played with Matt Hazard long enough to recognize that as a proxy.
I was like, how did you know?
I am 90% sure that's Black Lotus. He's going to crack it. And probably play the Null Rod. Did you do it? Did you build the deck? We are joined here by Randall Witherall, who has built the Sarkhan's Unsealing vintage deck.
Oh no, was this the most unvintage card?
Yes. On Twitter a little while ago, a couple months ago, I had the question of what is the least vintage card, and my proposition was Sarkhan's Unsealing, which is a 4-drop enchantment. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and read that?
Enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 4, 5, or 6, Sarkhan's Unsealing deals 4 damage to any target. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 7 or greater, Sarkhan's Unsealing does 4 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. It is 3 and a red to cast.
Yep.
Is this...
So let me. I'll give you a little breakdown of the deck here. It's kind of a high tide deck. He's gonna put Sarkhan's Unsealing into play and then win with Palancron. So Palancron will bounce itself with high tide and can make infinite mana.
Of course, that's just what I would have expected.
Right. So he's just gonna deal 4 damage to his
because
opponent
once you make infinite mana with Palancron, obviously how you win is with Sarkhan's Unsealing.
Yes. Good job, Randall. I'm impressed. I thought it was the least vintage card, but maybe you've turned it into a vintage something. What's your record today?
0-2.
Okay.
I never would have expected that.
Dredge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's played against Dredge twice, so that's hardly fair.
And then the 5th night.
Nice. He also has a Pandemonium, which is basically Sarkhan's Unsealing, but better.
If you play cards for their what's Ingachewer got? Evoke?
Evoke.
Does Evoke count for that as the
Yeah.
normal converted mana cost? So if you evoke
No,
something
the
7,
converted mana cost is 5,
it's
but it's a 3/3.
okay. So it would count for Sarkhan's Unsealing.
No, it counts power.
Oh right.
Yeah. It's okay.
But evoke would work for triggering that.
We've
If there
just
is
learned of
something.
the existence of Sarkhan's
Yeah.
What if you
Unsealing.
cast it? Just throw in Dreadnought.
Right.
It comes to play, triggers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So does that Shadow.
Yeah.
So Hazard's opening there was Tarmogoyf and Nullrod off of Black Lotus. Jaco sort of stymied. He's got some lands and Sensei's Divining Top there. Hazard beginning the beats. Tarmogoyf is a 2/3 right now. I think he needs to beef that up a little bit to try and get somewhere. Jaco is otherwise just going to play lands and eventually going to get there.
It's the worst feeling in the world when you are feeling like you're getting there, and then a combo player is at like 2 or 3 life. It's just like, all right, now I'm winning.
Yeah, two damage per turn is so much time. in
Agonizing.
Vintage. That is a repeal. I would assume he's going to be putting Nullrod back in Matt's hand.
Boom!
Oh, he's not. He's not going to be doing that. It's Pyroblast versus repeal. Jaco spent a lot of mana on that and gets nothing.
Good day, sir.
Good day. Could have been bait. Was it bait? I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Night's Whisper? No, he's killing a Tarmogoyf.
That's Whisper.
Oh, it is. It is Night's Whisper. He's just indicating the Tarmogoyf because the Tarmogoyf gets bigger.
I am surprised to see Night's Whisper in 2020.
It's still effective as a draw spell.
Yeah. Jaco.
It's efficient.
I guess I would have expected
If you're-
something around there to be better in blue.
Yeah, it's Time Walk. and
Ancestral's
Ancestral.
better.
Ancestral's a very good card. Ancestral has a long history of being a good card. So the Tarmogoyf is getting to be a respectable size here. Jaco still Jaco drawing cards to see if he can get out of his the shadow of Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf getting to be a better exclusively because of Jaco's actions.
Yeah, right. That's obviously Mox Ruby. That's not going to be doing anything because it's shut off. And shuffling Blightsteel back into the deck. So Jaco very realistically here could be tutoring or trying to find Tinker.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid,
seems
especially like showing the Blightsteel.
Had not gotten a good look at either player's hand.
Hey guys, can you play just with your hands more?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we have a lot of players here who will bring their proxies to this event, partly because there's a lot of drinking here, and if you play a Beta Black Lotus on the table and someone spills a beer on it, suddenly you have a Beta Black Lotus that smells like hams. And maybe you just don't. Maybe you just don't do that.
As prices rise, it becomes more and more ridiculous what these decks can be worth.
Yeah.
Even relatively what seems like pedestrian cards can be $100-200.
Well, especially as new formats come up. I mean, Modern looking back into old cards, even Pioneer looking at newer cards.
Yeah.
It's like, suddenly
There's spikes in
Inverter
demand.
of Truth is a $10 card or whatever.
Yeah.
So Mad Hazard's still kind of stuck on mana. Obviously, he could still have Pyroblast mana. He could have double Pyroblast mana if he also has a Simian Spirit Guide or something like that. Jaco.
Does Jaco play forces? Like, does Paradoxal play force?
Yeah, he should have forces in there.
Because I haven't seen him.
I think that's Time Walk too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the little
Now that
little
it's used,
figures.
yep.
That's a Time Walk there. So he's gonna Time Walk. Is that could potentially be a bait spell if he's worried about Hazard having something. He would want to follow it up something here, but
I don't know. Like, he's certainly in a position where he could.
I mean,
But with that Null Rod out, it's going to be hard for him to like really.
well, he does have 3 mana. If he can get to any more mana,
Starts getting threatening.
it starts becoming threatening. And if he can get rid of the Null Rod, like
Yeah,
obviously
definitely
he
if
has
he
a
can
bunch
get-
more mana and can get more. We'll see here if Hazard has a counter or wants to use it.
He's definitely thinking about it, or making Jaco think he's thinking about it.
I think we're letting Time Walk resolve. I don't know if that's calling Jaco's bluff or if we're just gonna let him see what happens. Obviously, Time Walk drawing a card isn't terrible.
It's not great though.
It's not. It's not great.
Cycling Time Walk doesn't
Yeah.
feel.
Time
Good.
ticking away in the round. We're in the middle of game 2 here. We're less than 15 minutes left. That's the new 3-drop Teferi, so Hazard cannot counter things if new Teferi sticks. New Teferi makes it so your opponent can only play things at sorcery speed. You have the option of playing things at instant speed.
Handy.
I think that's one of his abilities. He looks a little like Michael Jordan. He's a good card. He's found a lot of play in the paradoxical outcome decks for precisely this reason. If you resolve him, your opponent can't counter your stuff. Similar to Lavinia. That's a green card. Is that Veil? No. What is that? I can't even see that it has text. It's so tiny. I see that. Is that Veil of Autumn? Why would that be that? Oh, because he could draw a card.
And this would be his last opportunity to do so before it comes around to his turn.
Well, it would be the last. Yeah, potentially. He would be able to draw a card here because his opponent has played a blue spell.
Right.
He currently all of Hazard's things have protection from blue and from black.
Yes!
Which is not nothing. Veil, yeah. I thought so. It looked like the art. That's quite a card. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
I've heard people talking about it. It just caused some stir.
I have it in the sideboard. Yeah, asking if it's playable in Belcher, I definitely have it in the sideboard. I did get to use one last time I played. It was fun. I drew a card. Well, no, my opponent's thing didn't counter my stuff, and I drew a card.
I love cards that cycle for once.
Yeah, right. No, it was great. Highly recommend. Would do again. So good, it's banned in Standard? Pioneer? Is it banned in Pioneer?
I think so.
Yeah, it's banned in Pioneer.
I'm not sure. Pioneer.
Yeah,
I don't think I own any of those cards.
I'm sure you own some of them. Oh, I guess you're proxying most of them. So, Jaco has resolved Teferi, which Hazard can attack, although I'm not sure what the starting loyalty on Teferi is. Hazard.
The Tarmogoyf is 4/5. I wouldn't expect that Teferi would be that large, right?
You would be surprised.
I might be surprised.
He's looking at it now. I bet he'll find out. It looks like it's a 5. It is a 5 right now. I think it probably starts at a...
He probably plussed it.
I'm trying to remember if it has
4
a
to a
plus.
5 or 3 to a 5.
Yeah, I think it does have a plus. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I don't remember how the different planeswalkers in War have different abilities based on their rarity. So if you're an uncommon planeswalker, you have 2 minus abilities, or 1 minus ability. I think Teferi is probably a rare and has a plus and a minus. We're really showing our expertise of new cards.
Hell yeah.
I was there when Teferi was developed, and here we are. That's the back of a card. I have no idea.
It's loading.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay, okay.
I just
The
finally
thrill,
connected.
the thrill is in the not knowing.
There we go. Is it that one?
Yes.
Okay, there you
Yeah. Okay, so Teferi does have a plus. He started at 4. And he's letting Jaco play spells as though they had flash. So Hazard has wasted a land, wasted his opponent's Underground Sea. And he has attacked Teferi down to 1. So Jaco has at least bought a couple of turns with Teferi. I think that's actually a reasonable thing. So Hazard is using Simian Spirit Guide and playing a red spell.
That is a red spell.
It's got a red border.
It does.
That, goodness gracious, it's some sort of removal. It's got fire on it. Oh, it's got to be draw 2, discard 1, or something like that. Draw 2, discard 2 at random. These are the things you have to resort to as a red mage. If you were playing blue, you could just play Ancestral.
Was it Tormenting Voice?
Is he discarding that? No? You're
No.
keeping that? Okay. Oh, well, this is actually interesting because now if Jaco bounces the Null Rod, Matt potentially has a counterspell. Oh, that's what it was. So Hazard discarded the Ancient Tomb to draw 2 cards.
Of course.
Yes, and he played the Mox Ruby. Potentially, if Jaco bounces the Null Rod, Matt will have counterspell available, except he can't play it because of Teferi. So
Teferi's gonna die, Matt.
Teferi's gonna die next turn.
He's gonna die.
Yeah.
Teferi, no!
Goodness gracious. There is so much vintage going on.
Yeah, we're down to 10 minutes in the round, and this is still game 2.
We're in game 2. I mean, if Jaco wins this, he wins the match. So
That's true.
Hazard.
Should I tell him time left?
No, he's fine.
You can tell in less than 10 minutes if you want.
It's their problem.
Hazard is down a game. He needs to win here to potentially draw. I know that. I know that Jaco is vehemently anti-draw, so I expect that we'll come to some sort of conclusion. I know that, or I don't expect that anything was set out beforehand as far as like this is how we finish a match. I believe that's Rick Gideon in the chat saying old school is better than vintage, and he could be right.
What just happened there to remove the Null Rod?
I don't know. What did he point at that thing? Oh, does Teferi bounce a thing? I think Teferi's minus might actually be it. Oh no, Teferi's still on board.
No, he's in the yard.
Well, there's one on board too.
Right after another, or is it?
Oh my. Oh my.
No, 1F. It's basically, I think it's.
So
Here we are.
Yeah, it's -3. Return up to 1 target artifact, creature, enchantment to its owner's hand. Draw a card. So he must have.
How did he get the extra counter on it then? Oh, did he play a new Teferi?
He played a new Teferi.
I see. So Jaco played a second Teferi, bounced the Null Rod, and has now played Paradoxical Outcome.
And all sorts of things are breaking loose.
Things are going crazy, and it seems that Hazard does not have a Pyroblast.
Backup Pyro, yeah.
Which is kind of a shame. I would expect Jaco is going to draw. Let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards coming to him.
It's that left seat power, man.
Left seat too strong. Left seat too strong.
There's benefits to that too, because if Wilson Ancient can be a really good Brothers and Sisters.
Oh, he's going to bounce the Fairy too. So he's going to draw 6.
So it depends on the situation. So I'm vamping for console. I mean, it's good and bad.
And he's got some mana floating there. Looks like some number of blue and a black.
If you're unable to have a life.
Hazard twiddling his thumbs. As far as we know, he's twiddling his thumbs.
Good feel.
It's a terrible feeling. So mana. Let's see. And all those things he just had.
Are we doing the Jerry Desire here?
I don't think so. I feel like there's probably something going on. We'll see what happens. Jaco looking at a fistful of riches, and Matt Hazard looking at a barrel of a gun.
His Tarmogoyf is 5/6 now.
Tarmogoyf is 5/6. It can. I mean, if you were playing against, for example, Eldrazi or Survival, he would be in a good position.
Yes. He's not.
We've almost made the game long enough that we've gotten there. We've got some. Jaco's still counting mana. He can make a lot of mana. Oh, so much mana. I expect we're gonna do stuff.
Yeah, because
It's an Ashcoat Bear.
yes, of course.
It's not. I don't know what that is.
I have often heard of the new tech of
Hey,
Ashcoat Bear.
Alec Baldwin. Welcome to the chat, man.
On Friday. Vintage on
Yeah, we're sorry. You can still come over. We're still at Matt Hazard's house. We can give you the address.
Hungover.
Yeah.
Hungover.
Yeah, we hung over on Sunday.
Let us know if you want to stop by. We're about to get pizza. Come over and hang out. We're streaming live from a basement in Columbus, Ohio, where Jason Jaco is drawing a bunch of cards versus birthday boy Matt Hazard. No, the librarian could not make it today. We have lots of people here, but he's not. Alex, just bring them all. Just bring everyone with you.
Oh, you're talking about G?
No, Alec. Alec is in the chat. Alec Baldwin.
Oh, where is he?
He's in Columbus. He's got other boys in town hanging with him today.
Okay, bring him over.
That's what I said.
There's plenty of alcohol.
Brassman is here. He did make the trip from Boston. We think he has 5 decks and is randomizing them for every round.
I don't know what Jacob
I was
just
actually
played.
planning on doing 3 decks for unsealing.
Jaco.
My favorite would have been the workshop
He's
version of it.
still dirtling.
Jaco is playing lots of mana, and we're trying to figure out a way to win the game. Like I said, Jaco up a game. Matt Hazard needs a miracle at this point to win the match.
I don't think he's gonna get a miracle.
I don't think he's gonna get that. I don't know that. Well, I was gonna say that I don't think that Red Green could win on turn 1, but I'm wrong because that's exactly what Belcher does.
So we lived in Ohio. In high school, they moved to Texas, and I stayed.
Are you running once upon a time at all or no? Test it?
I
I'm
haven't
still
tried
working on testing of mine.
Are you playing a land in there?
Just one Taiga.
One Taiga? Yeah. Talking
Because I
about the.
figure it's one Taiga and 3 ESGs. Or 8
Well, you have,
ESGs.
you have all the spirit cards.
So,
Well, and Tinderwall.
and
Don't sleep on Tinderwall.
And 4 Goblin Motor.
Yeah, right.
2 Goblin Motor.
Goblin World is really good.
So I figure like
Is Goblin Welder more back with mental missteps removal, or
Sure, man.
does this mean the return of Control Slaver?
Yeah, and also 5 color stacks.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're talking about the applications of Once Upon a Time in Red Green Belcher. Randall's testing it. It's a maybe. Then we're talking about how well Welder does now that Mental Misstep is gone. And, sure, whatever.
Is that a second
to me it's still a 2.
Tarmogoyf?
I think that's another Veil of Summer.
Oh,
And a Flusterstorm.
interesting.
Pew, pew, pew. I wonder...
Is that worth Flusterstorming? I guess that's a card.
I don't know what the play was there. He would give himself... Yeah, he's bouncing the Tarmogoyf. So he's buying himself some time.
Because
He's,
he's doing a lot of things.
I think
and
he
then
drew a bunch of cards and didn't
passing the
get
turn.
stuff, and like he's
always good feel.
Drawing cards.
or maybe
And passing the turn.
And passing the
let's see. Yeah, so we do have a couple of vintage events going on in Ohio in the next few months at Kid Force in Berea and at Pop in Sandusky. I don't remember the dates for each of
I
them.
know
either
Kid
of
Force
those.
is the 29th
Of
February.
February. So Kid Force in Berea on the 29th of February, and then
I'm not
This is a
sure
leap year
what-
year?
yes,
Yes, it is.
it is divisible by 4, but not by 100.
Neat.
Then
Which was awesome. This
The
week
more
because
you
it made
know.
My birthday from Wednesday to
Yeah,
Friday.
right.
I'm like, yes.
right.
Once I
and
figure
then-
what's going on in TSI Vegas, I'm set.
And then Pop in Sandusky at the end of March, toward the end of March. Those are both available on the Mana Drain. We post all of our events there. There's also in the vintage discussion boards on Facebook. You'll find out about them. We've got less than a minute left in the round. It looks like Jaco is coming to a conclusion here. Matt Hazard still, hanging around. Because what else are you going to do while your opponent is drawing cards? You got 30 seconds. So, this Jacob is playing stuff out of his graveyard. I think he's got Yawgmoth's Will somewhere, or is he just removing things for dig through time? Not sure. There's lots of things happening. Oh man.
Top.
Do they know
We're-
they're at time in the round? I mean, I
There's
assume
still 1 minute, so we're time.
I assume Jaco's going to win, and I mean, don't tell them that. tell them they're at time in the round.
Time in the round. Time.
I'm not sure we're the official arbiter for time in the round, are we?
We are now. We're the ones with a game clock, and this time I didn't reset it.
All right. Hazard says they get extensions.
Oh.
Man,
started late.
I hope Hazard wins this, and then we go to game 3.
I hope Hazard gets hair extensions.
No.
You guys are 1,000%. Hedger is always serious. He's had 51% fun.
There's nothing weirder than sitting across from a player whose deck is working out the way that it should, and they're doing all
And they
kinds of
just
things,
can't win the
and
game.
then they just pass the turn.
Yeah,
Your turn.
we're calling this.
Sweet.
This is wheel spinning at its finest. I mean, I still assume that Jacob is going to draw more cards.
Yeah, he's going to draw
We'll
more cards,
eventually
and he's
find the
eventually going to
actual
get there,
win.
but it's can be an arduous process to make it there.
We got lots of stuff. Here's cards.
There's cards.
Discardo.
Ooh. Untap. Mana crypt.
Okay, I think that's safe still.
Draw. This is riveting.
I like to keep my audience
Where's all the
riveted.
dice we had last time?
I forgot to bring them, okay? Teferi is bouncing Mox Ruby.
Take that, Mox Ruby.
Oh! And then there was one Taiga. One lonely Taiga.
What are we doing? Mana. Okay, good.
Fantastic.
Mana.
Do you think that Paradoxical is the top blue deck right now, or is it
I don't think so. I
harder
think
to
I think
pin
it's,
down than that?
I mean, it's difficult to say outright. I would say that one of the Planeswalker-based decks are going to be a little bit stronger. Paradoxical has never really been a top deck. It's just annoying to play against, and it's
Strictly because of the waiting involved? Or?
yeah, I think this is part of it. But I think it's one of those things where it's like it has a reasonable win percentage, but it's not like outstanding. I mean, you're not like
Yep. Well,
you're not like 60% to win. You're like, 51, 49%, and it's just a little bit different. So the
Scotch. Be back.
we got the handshake there. Jason Jaco takes it 2-0 over